In the quiet town of Meadowbrook, the first snowflake of the season began to fall, landing gently on the tip of a young girl's nose. She giggled, scrunching it up before catching the flake on her mitten-covered hand. The chilly winter air brought a soft hush to the streets, as if the town itself was whispering a secret. The girl, named Lily, squinted through the frosty window of her favorite store, the Meadowbrook Pet Emporium. Inside, a warm glow beckoned, promising a cozy refuge from the cold. The bell over the door jingled merrily as Lily pushed it open, the sound echoing through the aisles filled with curious creatures. The pet store owner, Mr. Jenkins, looked up from his paperwork and smiled. He was a man of few words, but always had a gentle nod for the children who visited his shop. His eyes twinkled as he watched Lily make her way to the back, where the more exotic animals were housed. She had a soft spot for the misunderstood critters that nobody else seemed to want. The store was a menagerie of sights and sounds, the chirping of birds in their colorful cages, the rustle of small rodents playing in their hay-filled homes, and the occasional yawn from a sleepy reptile. But today, something was different. There was a new addition to the store, a tiny, shivering creature in a cage all by itself. Lily's heart skipped a beat as she approached, noticing the sadness in its eyes. It was unlike any animal she had ever seen before. "What is it, Mr. Jenkins?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. "Mr." Jenkins looked up from his desk and sighed. "It's a rare snow fox, Lily. Someone found it lost in the woods and brought it here, but it's not used to being cooped up, and I'm afraid it won't survive the winter in captivity." His words hung in the air, heavy with concern. Lily felt a pang of empathy for the creature. She knew all too well what it was like to feel out of place. Her family had moved to Meadowbrook a few months ago, and she had struggled to make friends. This snow fox looked like it needed a home just as badly as she had. Determined to help, she turned to Mr. Jenkins and proposed a plan. "Could I take care of it?" she asked. "I promise to keep it safe and happy until spring comes and we can release it back into the wild." Mr. Jenkins studied her for a moment, then nodded. "All right, Lily, but remember, this isn't a toy, it's a wild animal. It's going to take a lot of work and patience." Lily nodded solemnly, her eyes never leaving the snow fox's. She knew this was her chance to make a difference, not just for the fox, but for herself too. And so the unlikely friendship between girl and fox began, a bond that would soon bring joy and healing to both of their lives. Over the next few weeks, Lily visited the pet store every day after school, eager to learn everything she could about her new charge. Mr. Jenkins taught her how to handle the fox gently, how to feed it the right diet, and the importance of providing a stimulating environment. He also shared stories of the wild creatures he had encountered over the years, sparking a fire in Lily's heart for conservation and the great outdoors. The snow fox, whom Lily had named Frosty, began to trust her. It would wag its fluffy tail and purr softly when she entered the room. Under her care, it grew stronger and more playful. She watched with awe as it leaped and twirled, its snow-white fur standing out against the store's warm backdrop. The other animals in the store seemed to sense the change in the air, their spirits lifting with the snow fox's antics. As the winter months passed, Lily and Frosty grew closer. The townsfolk would often stop by the pet store just to catch a glimpse of the rare creature. Word spread, and soon the Meadowbrook Pet Emporium became a beloved local attraction. People brought warm blankets and toys for Frosty, sharing in Lily's enthusiasm for the little fox's well-being. With each kind gesture, Lily felt more and more at home in the town that had once felt so foreign. But as the days grew longer and the snow began to melt, the inevitable question arose: what would happen to Frosty when spring came? Lily knew the time to release it back into the wild was approaching, and she felt a twinge of sadness at the thought of saying goodbye. Yet she also knew that it was what was best for her furry friend. With a heavy heart, she started preparing for the day she knew would come too soon. The night before the planned release, Lily took Frosty to the local library, eager to learn more about its natural habitat. The librarian, Mrs. Thompson, had been following Frosty's story, and was thrilled to help. Together, they pored over books filled with images of vast, snowy landscapes and the elusive snow foxes that roamed them. Lily's resolve grew stronger. She had to ensure Frosty had the best possible chance at a happy wild life. The next morning, as the first rays of sunshine kissed the fresh snow, Mr. Jenkins, Lily, and a small group of townsfolk gathered at the edge of the woods. Frosty's cage was open, and Lily held the fox in her arms, whispering sweet nothings into its ear. With a lump in her throat, she gently set it down on the snowy ground. For a moment, the fox looked back at her, as if to say, "Thank you." Then, with a graceful bound, it disappeared into the trees, leaving a trail of paw prints that soon vanished in the pristine snow. The townsfolk cheered, their eyes shining with happiness. Mr. Jenkins placed a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. "You did a good thing, kiddo," he said. "You gave that fox a second chance." As they watched Frosty's tail flicker in the distance, Lily felt a warmth spread through her. The pet store owner's words had reminded her that she too had been given a second chance in Meadowbrook. And just like the snow fox, she had found her place here. With a deep breath, she turned to face her newfound friends, her eyes brimming with tears. "Thank you all for helping me with Frosty," she said, her voice cracking slightly. "You've all made me feel so welcome." The townsfolk exchanged knowing smiles. Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, her warm hand enveloping Lily's mittened one. "You've done more than you know, dear. You've brought us all together and taught us the importance of caring for our wild neighbors." Over the following months, Lily found herself spending more time outside, exploring the very woods she had once only dreamed of. She made friends with the local wildlife, from the squirrels that chattered in the trees to the deer that grazed by the frozen pond. And every time she saw a glimpse of white darting through the shadows, she knew Frosty was watching over her, a reminder of the unbreakable bond they shared. The pet store became a gathering place for the community, with weekly meetings to discuss wildlife conservation and share stories of their own encounters with nature. Lily was at the center of it all, her knowledge and passion inspiring others to get involved. Together, they raised funds to preserve the local woodlands, ensuring that future generations would have the same opportunity to experience the beauty of the wild. And as the seasons changed and the snow gave way to green, Lily found that her world had grown in ways she had never imagined. The quiet town she had once felt so lost in had become a place of belonging, all thanks to a little snow fox that had stumbled into her life. With each step she took into the blossoming spring, she knew that she had found her purpose, to be a voice for the animals that couldn't speak for themselves. One sunny afternoon, as she sat by the pond, a flash of white caught her eye. For a moment, she dared to hope it was Frosty. But as the figure grew closer, she realized it was something even more unexpected. A young girl, her eyes wide with wonder, holding a notebook and pen. "Are you Lily?" the girl asked shyly. "I heard you know a lot about animals. Could you teach me?" Lily's heart swelled with joy as she recognized the same curiosity and loneliness she had once felt. She took the girl's hand and led her back to the pet store, ready to share her love for animals and the lessons she had learned from her furry friend. The cycle of kindness continued, and Lily knew that Frosty's legacy lived on in the hearts of the people of Meadowbrook.